Claiborne with RawBerryKitchen, and at this time I'm going to teach you how to make Rawpple pie. It has a wonderful flavor and you don't even have to bake it. Now I had previously today took 2 cups of walnuts and soaked them. It's good to soak them for several hours, even up to 12 hours. Then I took 5 medjool dates. You could use deglet nor if that's all you have, but I took 5 of these large plump medjool dates and I took the pits out and I put them in my Rawpple food processor, which is an industrial food processor, and it processes it up really fast, but I already processed it for you just to save time on the video, but we will show you how it works pretty soon. Anyways, I processed it to make a nice sticky, like Play-Doh crust. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dump this into my pie plate. And then I'm just going to start pressing it all around into the pie pan. That's all you do. My pie plate is a really nice one. It comes from Pampered Chef. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I just love the Pampered Chef stuff. It's a nice stoneware that they have. But your walnuts are really good and good for your brain. And I remember when I was pregnant with my kids, I used to like to eat walnuts because it said it was good for their developing their brains. And the dates are a natural sweetener. Actually, in some countries, like I think India, they would eat pounds of dates a day because of the nutritional value that you can just get in dates. I really like food that is like your medicine and keeps you healthy and strong. Just kind of feel it around and press with your fingers so that you have it pretty even all the way around. And you can fuss with the edges if you want to and make them pretty. Most of the time, I just kind of like to get the job done because it's just going to get eaten. So when you got it all pressed in there, you've got a beautiful crust all ready to go. You don't even have to bake it. Now we're going to make the Rawpple pie filling, and that comes in 2 parts. The first part, you're going to take a couple apples. I like to put a little bit more and then 2 apples, so I generally go to about 3 apples. I'm going to show you how I do it in the Rawpple. This is the dicer. I love to have the apples diced in there. It just seems like when you shred, slice, dice, it gives everything a different flavor no matter how you do it up. It changes the texture and the flavor. You could put this in a regular food processor and process it down until it was chunked up. But I'm going to go ahead and make the chunky part with my Rawpple. I remember which way to put that in. Okay. Then you have the slicer part. You have the dicer and then the slicer. And the parts on this are really sharp, so you have to be very careful. But it works really incredible. Go ahead and put the lid on. I hardly need that, but I can. Okay. Now these apples I peeled. The next ones I'll leave the peeling on for color. diced up my apples really quickly. I like the continuous feed because if you want to dice up a lot of apples to dehydrate, you can just fill up this container and then put them all into your dehydrator. But I wanted to show you how it worked. So there we have diced apples, and then I went ahead and I juiced a whole lemon. I'm going to use half of that lemon in here. The lemon gives it a beautiful tangy flavor. Go ahead and stir that in. And then take those chunked apples, or if you put it in the regular food processor, or with a knife, or a slicer. You could even use, I have this slicer right here, this core apple slicer. You can go ahead and you can peel them, core them, and put them in rings and just lay them in here too. So there's several different ways that you can do this. Chop them with a knife, chunk them in a food processor, dice them, or slice them. So there we have the first layer in our pie. It's just apples and a half of a lemon. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this part. Now I'll put on the processor part. And then we can make the other part of our pie. Sometimes a few apples get in here. Very powerful, strong blade on it. I'll put whole chunks of raw squash or sweet potatoes in there, and it just takes care of them like a dream. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the apples that I already chopped or cut up, and I left the skins on because it gives it a nice little red color. I'm going to go ahead and put those in the processor. And then it calls for 1 cup of currants or dates, or raisins, I'm sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and put these raisins in there. I'm going to save a little bit out for garnish. So you put about a cup in here. And now I'm going to put the rest of the other half of the lemon. Pop that in here. And then it calls for 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I joined a co-op where we order food every month, so I like to get bulk food. I get my bulk nuts, I get almonds and my walnuts, I'll get big containers of cinnamon and seasonings and dates. All that through a food co-op really helps out a lot. And then I went to the farmer, a local farmer, and I bought my apples. And I'll buy like a bushel at a time. And he'll have apples right up through the winter in cold storage, so I like to go there and get that sort of thing. That really helps. Now you could put a banana in here. I'm not going to this time. Could put a ripe banana in there. So now this one is going to be processed down to a mush, like a pulp. Push the sides down a little bit. Process a little bit more. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay this right on top of my diced apples. Get my blade out of the way so I don't get caught. This is very sharp. Again, I got a wonderful Pampered Chef spatula. They just work so good. The right tools help the job. I didn't have a food processor for many years, and now it just is like a dream. Everything can work so well now. And I got one that'll last a long time. So then you go ahead and spread that in there. I think it could have used more apples and filled up more. But this is the time when you could go ahead, you could sprinkle pecans on top, or you could sprinkle the raisins, whole raisins. And then if you want to give a little more color and look pretty, you can take a zester. They make these things very protective so you don't get hurt. Even so that I don't know how to open it. Anyway, go ahead and take it and just grate it into there. And make sure you clean the rinds to your lemons and have organic lemons if possible. Try again. Oh, I think there we go. So it'll give it a nice lemon zesty kind of flavor on top of there too. So there you have a nice raw apple pie. And maybe it doesn't look as good on film, but let me tell you, when you go ahead and taste it, it is so good. And I think I'm going to do that. Now this is the fun part. You could put this in the refrigerator and let the flavors melt together and chill and harden, or you could dig in and eat it right away. I'm going to go ahead and take a taste. I got myself a big spoon. Mmm. Mmm. It's so much better than a baked one. The flavors just burst. The lemon just brings those flavors right out. And one thing I forgot to do that would have been good would be put like a pinch of salt in there. That helps the flavor too, but I think if I'm not careful I might eat an awful lot of this pie. Enjoy.